So dear friends, welcome to this session. We are going to study in detail, in depth, what is action all about, where does action originate, what is ideal action, and what actions will take us where. So each action has a range, it's like a missile. You have a 25-kilometer missile, you have a 200-kilometer missile, you have a 2,000-kilometer missile, and you have a missile which goes beyond 5,000 kilometers. So that is an action, and that action has a corresponding, we can say, ammunition, flight support systems in that missile. So similarly, we are action generating machines. And I have told you previously also many times, all that we take in is knowledge, and all that we give out is action. So effectively, we are knowledge to action converting machines and nothing else. So where does the knowledge come in from? Traditionally, it is believed that the knowledge comes in from the five senses, five sense organs, through those channels of seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, and feeling the temperature. We get the knowledge about our environment, where we are. And through the five senses or five sense organs of action, we modify the environment outside. We bring about a change in the structure outside. We create a new structure. It might be a small contribution to that structure. It might be a big contribution to that structure outside. But we change the structure. Every time we act, we are changing the structure of our environment. So what are the five organs of action? The five organs of action are the mouth, the tongue, through which we speak. So speaking is an action. A grasping, when we use our both hands and we are grasping something, that is an action. Walking, two legs, when we walk, that is an action. The front sexual organ, when we use that either for urinating or for reproduction, so that is action. And at the back, the excretory organ, that again creates action. So these are the five actions which we can do. Out of this, the most prominent one is the mouth and the tongue combination, where we are able to speak. We communicate. We communicate what is inside us, inside our system, comes out. So our chitta is able to express itself with the mouth, with the hands. If we are writing some language, it could be a sign language, it could be any language for that matter. Our hands can even work on computer keyboards, musical instruments, and create some action and create some structural change in the environment outside. So all action will bring about change. Now, let us look at it from the yogic perspective. Patanjali in the second sutra has defined yoga as yoga chitta vritti nirodha. What it means is that the vritti, the modification of the chitta, will happen. It is natural. It will happen randomly also at times. It can happen at any intensity. All these fluctuations of the chitta have to be put to rest. The fluctuations have to die down. The fluctuations have to be stopped. They have to be subdued. Now, to subdue these fluctuations, we need action. So the question is that action which you are generating inside you, what is the purpose of that action? Where is that action going to work? And what result will that action give you? So yoga is the highest evolution of man. Yoga is the highest achievement of a man in a living form. Because here, the lowest of the lowest becomes the highest of the highest. The individual first merges with the universal powers, then with the cosmic powers, and then with the ultimate totality, the complete power, the infinite power. So that journey is what we are looking at. Okay, we are not looking at small worldly achievements. Worldly achievements will happen automatically. When you move on this journey from the lowest state of the mind, the chitta, where the mind is fluctuating very fast, where the mind is not steady, where the mind is fearful, where the mind is under stress, where the mind is suffering from illness. This is what the common man on the street is facing today. So when you are able to act in a way by which these fluctuations reduce, these fluctuations stop, then from the lowest of the lowest, you straight away reach the highest of the highest. You can become an avatar, you can become a Tirthankar, you can become a Kevalya Jnani, you can become a Brahma Jnani, uh, you can create universes, you can create cosmoses. So all that is possible only and only when we perform action that is influencing the chitta, slowing it down, calming it down, silencing it, stilling it, making it come to zero, zero movement. So this is the goal, and all actions have to be done for this goal. The worldly results will come automatically. Why will the worldly results come automatically? Because the outer action, or you can say the action in the outer world, comes from the chitta. So when your chitta is becoming silent inside, calm inside, your action outside will not only be calm, but much more with influencing power. It will impact more and more people. It will impact countries. It will impact the whole globe. And the initial impact will be felt in you. Then it will be felt in your immediate family. Then it will be felt in your office space, in your community. You will be contributing to the community without taking back anything from the community. You will become like an infinite well, which is flowing out continuous sweet water for the community outside without taking anything back from the community. Okay, so we are, as I started saying initially, knowledge to action converting machines. So if we want that knowledge, which can give us that action, which will calm our chitta, then that is the most ideal action to be done. That is the most ideal knowledge to be taken in. Is this clear till this point? If there are any questions with people, that please ask. No question?
I have no question, please.
Puche, please.
No, I don't have any question. I've been following you well.
You don't have any question, okay?
Yeah.
Fine. So I'm presuming till this stage, we all of us are on the same boat, okay, on the same board, same platform. Yeah, Anshuman, please ask.
Sir, my question is, so many times the actions are driven by erroneous knowledge or avidya or lack of clarity about what should be done. So I think, sir, that is also very important. So your perspective on that how can we have clarity and not live in the auto mode all the time?
You see, when you are in the auto mode, that means your subconscious mind is on. And when you are in the conscious mode, that means you are thinking, you are aware that you are existing, you are aware about the environment, you are aware about all the measurable parameters of this environment. What are the measurable parameters? Those five senses. Only through those five senses you can judge the outer environment. So we need to build up a library of, you can say, knowledge, and stack it up next to the action which will result from that knowledge, and stack it up next to the result which will come out of that action. So once we know, once we have, say, a collection of these, let me call them strings, knowledge will give this action will give this result. If we have these strings, many of them, then we have a wider knowledge base, action base, and result generating capability. How does this happen? This happens out of experience. When you are consciously living in the world, all that is happening is getting noticed, is getting memorized, is getting, I can say, gets converted into a sanskara. The chitta is keeping a record of it. The chitta is the biggest tool you have, and chitta is the biggest enemy you have. So the first thing which needs to be done in life is to understand this chitta, because only this chitta is of paramount importance to you on your this visit to this planet Earth. Why? Because the soul, the spirit, the Purusha from where you have come is unchanging. There is no change there. It is eternal, it is infinite, it is pure consciousness. Every time you take a living being form, the Atma, the Purusha, the spirit will remain the same. You cannot make any change to it. And the only thing which is changing constantly and recording that change is the chitta. So where is the knowledge coming? Knowledge is coming in the chitta. Where is that knowledge getting stored? That knowledge is getting stored in the chitta. Where it is forming sanskaras, it is forming sanskaras in the chitta. Where is the action coming from? The action is coming from the sanskaras. At the right place, with the right people, at the right time, a sanskara turns into physical action. So the theatre of all activity is the chitta. And you have only 5 doors through which you can enter this chitta, and there are only 5 doors from which you can bring something out of the chitta. Rest all is inside the chitta. And this chitta is not only carrying information, knowledge about your current life, it is carrying information, knowledge about all your lives, infinite number of lives. And that is why you know how to see, how to listen, how to smell, how to taste, how to think, because that programming is many lives earlier. It has slowly evolved. And now you have an evolved chitta. So this chitta is taking in knowledge, this chitta is storing knowledge, this chitta is making sanskaras out of it, this chitta is converting that sanskaras into karma, and it is putting that karma into the environment outside through the 5 karma indriyas, 5 organs of action. So what does the chitta want? You have your own desires, but if you look at the totality of the chitta consists of many things. It is the first output from the marriage of Purusha and Prakriti. So it has the cosmic mind. Then as the cosmic mind evolves, it has the universal mind. As it evolves further, it has the individual mind, the individual ego. And as it is being, as the doership is happening, you have the individual mind, you have the individual senses, you have the individual tanmatras, and you have an individual universe. What you are seeing is something which only you are seeing. At that same point in time and space, no other living being can see that universe. You are unique in your observation of that universe. So this is what it is. Now the question is, why have you come here? What is the best action for you? The best action for you is to learn how to still the mind. Because when you learn how to still the mind, your mind will regress, your mind will come back. It will come back from the world outside, through the senses, to the mind, to the ego, to the universal mind, to the cosmic mind, and then it will segregate itself into 2. The pure consciousness and the pure Prakriti or Mool Prakriti. So it is the reverse cycle which has to happen. But what happens to us is, when we come into this universe is like a dead-end street. Because after the physical world, there is nothing else which is evolving out of it. That is the end of the path. Now, the only way you can go is go back. If you have to progress, then you have to go back to where you came from. But if you have to spend your time there and enjoying the dead end, start playing gully cricket out there, then yes, the world is the place for you. अगर आपको भोग करना है तो वो गली की एंड में आप अपना पूरा भोग कर सकते हैं. वो डेड एंड जहां आप आ गए हैं, जिसको कि हम यूनिवर्स बोलते हैं, फिजिकल यूनिवर्स बोलते हैं, दैट इज डेड because material is inert, there is no consciousness. You have some amount of consciousness. So if you get trapped by what is not conscious, because of the games you can play, because of the so-called enjoyment you get, then you remain there for some time. And it is only when you are completely contented with that dead end, with that end gully, you have done all sorts of things which you thought you would like to do. Then what? Then you come out of that gully. Then you turn back and you come out. You come out to the main road. So similarly in life, all of us who are in human being form are at the dead end. The universe is where it has ended. So we can make fun in this universe, we can enjoy this universe, we can take all the pleasures of this universe, but pleasures will also give us pain, will also give us sorrow. It is existence which has both the opposites present. So if you are happy, you will be sad. If you are getting a name for yourself, someday somebody might, defame you also. So the opposites keep on happening. So if you are comfortable with these opposites, say for instance, Amitabh Bachchan. Amitabh Bachchan was nobody, became somebody, created a company, a filmmaking company, went into severe losses, was again a nobody, and then is again somebody today. So that is what happens in the dead end of the universe. That is what happens in the gully where you are playing. But if you come out of this gully, if you go back to the source, if you go back to the Purusha, the Mool Prakriti, so that action is right action. What all of us have been taught, what is right action, is how to act in the world. Acting in the world will take you nowhere. You will not progress. You will be there. You might have some possessions, those possessions will go away. You might have some name, that name will go away. You might have a body, that body will go away. You might have children, children will go away. You have a spouse, the spouse goes away. You have a business, the business goes away. You have a job, the job goes away. Okay? You have a healthy body, it becomes a weak body, and then the body goes away. So this what it is like, it is a glittering world, but it is not actually gold. It is the end of the street, evolution street. And now the next evolution is to take a U-turn and come back. Is this clear? Till here, is it clear, or there are questions?
Yes, sir. It's. I think you very nicely explained. The takeaway for me is that sometimes you have to step back to move forward. So that is, I think, very profound. Thank you.
Yeah, but here it is all about taking an about turn. And it is not easy to take an about turn, okay? Because we follow the masses. That is how our brains work. So when we see everybody is moving on the road towards the world, we are slightly afraid. Am I doing the right thing if I take a U-turn and go back? Okay? So the yogis, they go back. So it's only when you have courage or you are absolutely desperate that you have no choice but to act out of courage. Only those people go. And it is only those people who advance the world. That is the paradox. So when they are going back in action. And at whatever stage they are acting is creating a corresponding fruit, result, effect in the world. Because the mind and the world are connected. The mind is the inner, the world is the outer. So on the way back, you see, if you look at few examples, I will give you a few examples of people who have gone back. and gone back to a great extent. People like Muhammad, people like Jesus, people like Nanak, people like Mahavir, people like Buddha, they have gone back. But when they have gone back, their actions while going back has a sustainable result in the world today going forward. Are you able to understand what I'm telling you? Why?
Sanjay ji,
Really?
after we are merged with our main entity, can we come back again in this world? Can we take the birth again after merging? Suppose we have cleared all our karmic balances.
ओ प्रकाश भाई, क्वेश्चन में समझा नहीं,
Yes,
थोड़ा
sir.
वापस बोलिए और थोड़ा जोर से बोलिए.
After we have cleared all our karmic karmas in this world,
Yeah.
we suppose merge with the main entity, our ultimate macrocosm, we can say, ultimate. We are merged with that one. Then we need not come again, take the birth again. There is the need to, when we are clear all our.
नहीं, मैं जो समझाऊं आपका सवाल, ठीक है, मेरे को थोड़ा आवाज आपका टूट टूट के आ रहा था.
अच्छा, हाँ,
समझाऊं आपका सवाल. आप ये कह रहे हैं कि अगर हम पूरा कार्मिक अकाउंट क्लियर कर लेते हैं,
हाँ,
जाते हैं, तो क्या हम दोबारा आ सकते हैं क्या? ये आपका प्रश्न है ना?
करेक्ट, एग्जैक्टली.
ओके. देखिए, मुझे पता नहीं कि जैन सिस्टम और बुद्ध सिस्टम में क्या बोलते हैं, बट योगिक सिस्टम में ये माना जाता है कि आप एक बार जब वापस जाते हैं तो लौट के नहीं आते.
हाँ.
अगर आप पूरे वापस नहीं गए तब आप लौट गए.
हाँ, करेक्ट.
तो कुछ लोगों के साथ क्या होता है कि वो वापस तो जा रहे हैं.
हाँ.
ये मेरे ख्याल से पतंजलि में एक सूत्र है कि विदेही की बात करते हैं वो, कि बिना देह के हैं, शरीर त्याग चुके हैं.
हाँ.
अभी तक निर्विकल्प नहीं हुआ.
हाँ.
वो निर्विकल्प का स्टेज अभी रह गया है, वो अंतिम समाधि रह गई है.
हाँ, करेक्ट.
वो लोग वापस ध्यान करके फिर लौट सकते हैं.
हाँ. करेक्ट.
या नागेश्वर जी, आपका कोई क्वेश्चन?
नहीं, बिल्कुल मैं समझ गया.
ओके. या सो अब सवाल ये उठता है कि एक्शन क्या है. अब वापस उस पतंजलि के सूत्र पे आते हैं, योग चित्त वृत्ति निरोध. जब आप दुनिया में हैं तब आपका चित्त स्टेडी नहीं रहेगा, वो हिलेगा डुलेगा, अप डाउन करेगा. और जब आप वापस की जर्नी चालू करते हैं तब वो अप डाउन करना धीमा होगा. या अगर आप अप डाउन करने को धीमा करते हैं, आपकी वापस की जर्नी चालू हो जाएगी. तो ये जो वापस की जर्नी है, या वो एक्शन जो हमारे मन को शांति प्रदान करता है, जो हमारे मन में संतोष लाता है, जो हमारे माइंड में अच्छी भावनाएं पैदा करता है, हार्मनी पैदा करता है, पीस पैदा करता है, स्टिलनेस ले आता है, एक ठहराव ले आता है, वो चीजें हमको करनी चाहिए. वो एक्शन हमारे लिए जरूरी है. और अगर हम सिर्फ पतंजलि के हिसाब से देखें तो वो कहते हैं कि ये जो उथल पुथल है वो आ रही है बाहर से, बाहर की दुनिया से. और वो उथल पुथल जो बाहर की दुनिया में जो बदलाव हो रहा है कांस्टेंट, वो आपके चित्त में इंपैक्ट डालता है. और चित्त में इंपैक्ट डालता है उन 5 इंद्रियों के द्वारों के द्वारा. 5 इंद्रियों से वो बाहर का चेंज अंदर आता है और वो अंदर चेंज पैदा करता है. तो सबसे पहले तो आपको इंद्रियों पे कंट्रोल करना होगा कि कब उसको खोलना है, कब उसको बंद करना है. ये एक्शन आपको प्रैक्टिस करके सीखना होगा. ये एक एक्शन जरूरी है सेंसेस को अपने कंट्रोल में लाने. दूसरा है कि आपको अपने माइंड पे भी कंट्रोल करना होगा। तो माइंड क्या है? वो दरवाजा है इंद्रियों का, जहां पर कि माइंड पहरेदार के हिसाब से खड़ा है। वो देख रहा है कि आंख से किस चीज को अंदर आने देना है, किसको नहीं आने देना है, कान से किसको अंदर आने देना है, किसको नहीं आने देना है, और बाकी इंद्रियों से भी किसको अंदर आने देना है, किसको नहीं आने देना है। तो सेकेंड हमारा एक्शन जो है वो ऐसा होना चाहिए कि हम अपने मन के द्वारा इन वृत्तियों को कंट्रोल कर सकें और योग की तरफ जाएं। तीसरा जो हम एनकाउंटर करते हैं इस मार्ग पे, वो होता है हमारा ईगो। हमारा ईगो मतलब हमारा डूअरशिप, कि मैं करता हूं, मैं करने वाला हूं, मैं मालिक। अभी मान लीजिए कि आपको रसगुल्ले बहुत पसंद है और आपकी 2 रसगुल्ले खाने की इच्छा हुई और आपने खा लिए, तो वो रसगुल्लों का इम्पैक्ट आपके अंदर जाके शरीर में आएगा, उसके कारण चित्त में भी आएगा। और अगर आपको मालूम है कि मुझे शुगर ज्यादा है, मुझे डायबिटीज है, मैं दवाई खा रहा हूं, मेरे को रसगुल्ले 2 नहीं खाने, फिर भी हमारा हाथ उठाता है पहले रसगुल्ले को, मुंह तक लेके आता है, फिर हम माइंड का कंट्रोल स्टैब्लिश करते हैं। तो बोलते हैं नहीं 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 खाना है, इसको वापस रख दो। आप वापस रख देते हैं। तो इससे क्या होगा कि फ्यूचर की जो वृत्ति बनने वाली थी शुगर के फ्लक्चुएशन के कारण, वो नहीं बनेगी। ये भी हो सकता है कि 2 रसगुल्ले हैं, आपको पता है मेरे को नहीं खाना है, बट आपने 1 खा लिया। एक पे आपका कंट्रोल नहीं, लेकिन दूसरे पे आपका कंट्रोल आ गया अभी भय के कारण या किसी भी कारण से। तो ये 50% कंट्रोल हुआ, आपने फ्यूचर की वृत्ति को 50% डाउन किया। तो हमको ये करना है कि हर स्टेज पे जहां जहां पर भी हम इंद्री को प्रैक्टिस दे सकते हैं कंट्रोल की, हमको देना है। जहां जहां पर भी हम मन को पावर दे सकते हैं कंट्रोल का, हमको देना है। जहां जहां पर भी हम अहंकार को कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं, हमको करना है। ये मान लीजिए इस तरीके से है कि एक फुटबॉलर है, उसको फुटबॉल अच्छी लगती है खेलना, तो उसको प्रैक्टिस करना पड़ेगा बॉल का कंट्रोल। अगर वो बॉल का कंट्रोल प्रैक्टिस नहीं कर पा रहा है, तो वो अपने इंद्रियों का कंट्रोल नहीं कर पाएगा, वो अपने मन का कंट्रोल नहीं कर पाएगा, वो अपने अहंकार का कंट्रोल नहीं कर पाएगा। तो ये जरूरी नहीं है कि किसी भी एक तरीके से आप कंट्रोल करें। हर एक्टिविटी, हर एक्शन का कोई ना कोई रिजल्ट होगा। आपको ये कॉन्स्टेंटली समझना है कि इस एक्शन से मेरी वृत्ति बढ़ेगी कि घटेगी। अगर मेरी वृत्ति बढ़ती है, मेरे को वो एक्शन को कम कर देना है, और अगर मैंने कम कर लिया, अगली बार और कम कर देना है। अगर मैंने और कम कर लिया, अगली बार और कम कर देना है। तो ये शरीर के, ये चित्त की जो वृत्तियां हैं, ये आपके कंट्रोल में आने लगेंगी। ये संसार बाहर जो कॉन्स्टेंटली खेल रहा है आपके साथ, अलग अलग माध्यम से, अलग अलग रूप से, अलग अलग लोगों के थ्रू, अलग अलग वस्तुओं के थ्रू, अलग अलग मीडिया के थ्रू आप पे बम्बार्डमेंट कर रहा है। आप उसको कंट्रोल कर लेंगे, और जब आप उसको कंट्रोल कर लेंगे, हो सकता है कि आप रशिया में बैठे हो, वो कौन सी कंट्री है बगल में, अरे नाम
यूक्रेन।
बताओ।
यूक्रेन यूक्रेन
यूक्रेन।
आप यूक्रेन में बैठे हो, बमबारी हो रही है सब तरफ, लेकिन आपका चित्त शांति से बैठा रहेगा। और अगर आपका चित्त शांति से बैठा रहा, तो ये बहुत बड़ी संभावना है कि आपके आसपास की सारी बिल्डिंगें तक डैमेज हो जाएंगी, कंप्लीटली आपकी बिल्डिंग बच जाएगी, क्योंकि आपका योग हो गया है। आपका जब चित्त शांत है तब योग है, और जब योग है तब आप उस रियलिटी पे हैं जो बाकी रियलिटीज को कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं। आप ईश्वर के तत्व के साथ हैं, आप पुरुष तत्व के साथ हैं, आपका पावर इन्फानाइट है, आपका नॉलेज इन्फानाइट है, आपका बाल भी बांका नहीं होगा। लेकिन उसके लिए चित्त शांत होना चाहिए, उतना अभ्यास चाहिए, उतनी प्रैक्टिस चाहिए। या नागेश्वर जी बोलिए। आपको माइक को अनम्यूट करना पड़ेगा.
I put a question in the chat box. Can you please answer?
Okay, let me see. Okay, the question is how to reach moksha. So you see, moksha will come when the vrittis have stopped. The chitta has vrittis, fluctuations. And when you do small actions through which you are able to control the chitta, it will happen. Broadly speaking, in the Yoga Sutras, there are three actions which Patanjali has asked a person to do. One is Vairagya. He says, go into the world, but don't be affected by the world. Come back and don't get colored by the world. He says the world is full of infinite colors, and you are wearing a white kurta and a white dhoti and you are moving into the world. Move, but do not come back home with the colors of the world on your clothes. Your clothes must remain spotless white. That is Vairagya. That is complete detachment from what is happening outside. So this can be practiced. When you are very serious about achieving moksha, this can be practiced and slowly, steadily it builds up. Second, he says, for moksha to be achieved, you have to go back. Go back in the mind. So how do you go back in the mind? You go back in the mind by practicing dharana, dhyana and samadhi. So once when you practice dharana, dhyana and samadhi, then there are 7 levels of samadhi. You practice those 7 levels one by one. And then you will move up, 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 up. And the 7th level is moksha, where you will finally get moksha. So this method can also be tried. And another method is possible, which is comparatively a simpler method. That is Ishvara Pranidhana. Ishvara Pranidhana means that you submit yourself, surrender yourself, do complete samarpan to that infinite power, infinite knowledge. So you are finite, but you have accepted the supremacy of the infinite. And now you are allowing the infinite to control your life. So what happens here is you are surrendering your ego. You are bringing your ahankar down to zero. And only the Ishvara's cosmic mind and higher minds are guiding you now. So in this complex world, you have a higher mind guiding you. So you are able to come out of it into moksha. If you look at the story of Mahabharata, okay, it is a nice explanation of this whole process. When Arjuna at the beginning of the battlefield had a lot of questions, there was his chitta in vrittis, he was jumping up and down. So he is asking Krishna the answers. So Krishna is giving him the answers. So the chitta is slowly becoming silent, calm, peace. And when the chitta has become silent, calm, peace, when Arjuna has that final knowledge, Krishna takes over the chariot and Krishna starts the war. War means in the sense he starts moving the chariot. So now that is Ishvara Pranidhana, where Arjuna has completely surrendered to Krishna. And through those 18 days of warfare, they are moving into the mind. And finally a stage is reached where the entire Kaurav army is dead, but Arjuna and the Pandavas are alive. So this signifies that their chitta is so still that even death has not touched them. In spite of so many people dying, so many of the Pandava children dying, the 5 brothers were alive. Yama did not come and take them in the battlefield. So that is a symbolic representation of moksha. And that is why they renounce everything and they go into the Himalayas. So you have to get inspired by this story. And beginning, the world will terrify you, the world will scare you, the world will give you pain, the world will give you sorrow, the world will give you false knowledge. The first knowledge which you get is never true knowledge. Usually the knowledge which comes in first is false knowledge. And slowly, steadily, you have to churn out the true knowledge, the right knowledge. That leads to true action, right action. And then you are back into yoga and you reach the highest levels of existence. Yeah, is it clear, Nageshwar?
Yes, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
If you have any questions, you can ask.
No. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I have a question, Sanjay ji.
Boliye.
When you spoke with Mr. Prakashan, you gave an example of Rasgulla and its effect on the mind. Are you able to hear me?
No, I'm having some difficulty. I don't know why. Boliye.
Okay. See, when you spoke to Mr. Prakashan ji
Yeah.
regarding effect of Rasgulla on the mind.
No, I gave an example of Rasgulla. It was not for.
No, I understand.
Okay.
So my take on this is from my earlier understandings of your speeches, whether you do a thing or not, but if it is mind is applied to that, it is as effective as done in the mind, in our what is it called, vrittis.
Okay.
And when you don't attach things with the mind, their effect doesn't take place.
Okay. I'm
You
assuming
get-
the saying is that when we are applying the mind, the result will come. And when we are not applying the mind, the result will not come. Is it what you're saying?
on the chitta, on the vrittis.
No, vritti is different, chitta is different. Vrittis
No,
are
not chitti. No, not chitti.
vrittis are modifications of the chitta. Chitta is the totality of the mind. The entire mental faculty is chitta.
True. Agreed.
And this entire mental faculty has various sections. The sections which are closer to the Atma, closer to the Mool Prakriti are powerful. They have bigger power. They are like cosmic intelligence, cosmic mind.
Yes.
But the mind which is being used close to the world is the individual mind. That has got very less power.
Yes.
So if you are conscious at the individual mind stage and trying to manifest something from there, it will be difficult. But if you are able to go back in consciousness or go up in consciousness to say the universal mind or the cosmic mind stage, and there you are putting in your thought, then the chances of that materializing are very, very high.
Okay, that is what you have been telling before also. Progress of mind towards moksha. No, my question was, earlier, from your earlier talks, what I understand is that if we attach our mind to something, it creates a karma with us. And if our mind is not attached to our action, there is no karma created.
There is no.
Is my understanding right?
No, you see, what is happening is you have to look at the sequence. First thing is that the information is coming in through the outer senses.
Yes.
And where is it coming? It is coming to the mind. Okay.
Correct.
The mind is now storing it there.
Yeah, it processes. Yeah.
So that is memory. The Sanskrit term they use at times is sanskara. I have not been able to understand the difference between the two. Sometimes memory is referred to as smriti, and these kind of sublimated memories are referred to as sanskaras. Okay. So anyway, so from then the action comes, from then the karma comes. Now while karma has come, action is being performed. If you are looking towards a result of that action, okay, then a new karma is getting formed. But if you are not looking at the result of that action, then no new karma is formed. Are you understanding me? If you are doing an action with an intention to get a result, then that leaves a new karma inside you. But if you are doing an action which is not looking for any particular result, you are doing it because it has to be done. You are doing it selflessly. There is no ulterior motive. There is no selfish interest. Then there is no new karma getting formed.
Okay, I understand now. I understand. Yeah, it's quite clear.
Okay. Yeah. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. Now there are other people also who have questions. I think one of them is, I think Nageshwar, you had a question again?
Your answer, sir. Thank you very much. No questions.
Yeah. So what I was telling you is that knowledge comes into the mind and the mind gives out action. This is one truth. Knowledge becomes mind, mind gives out action. Now the question is, what goal do I want in my life? If I want to achieve the highest, then that highest is moksha. The highest is not becoming the richest man on the planet. The highest is moksha. Bill Gates will be forgotten after 50 years, but Mahavir Jain will not be forgotten after 20,000 years also. Okay, people will worship him, people will name their children after him, communities will form, religions will start, all those things will happen. But when Bill Gates dies, nobody will remember him. You see, look at the Mughals. They ruled over India. How are they remembered now today? And hardly 400, 500 years have passed. Look at the Britishers. Just wait for a few hundred years. You will see Indians speaking very highly about the Americans in the negative way. Okay. So people who are after worldly action, worldly goals get lost, are forgotten. But people who only work on themselves, moksha is a self-improvement action. It is not a samaj improvement action. It is not a community improvement action. It is not a religion starting action. Moksha is simply self-improvement to the highest order. That's all. When oneself, say me, say I am working on myself, taking action all throughout, 24 hours a day to achieve moksha. When I achieve moksha, there would be a complete change in the area, in the state, in the country where I am living. The entire thought structures will change, because when I am going towards moksha, I am modifying my thought structures, my chitta is becoming silent. So what does that mean? The outer chittas which are moving, are fluctuating, is not causing a fluctuation in my chitta. That means my chitta has the stability holding factor, and it can hold the entire country's chitta fluctuating. And then eventually the other chittas will get stabilized and they will stop their fluctuation. And that is where the yuga changes. That is where civilizations change. That is where major changes occur in civilization. It is because of self-improvement of one person. It is not of self-improvement of 1,000 people. You go through history, you will find one Gautam Buddha, you will find one Mahavira, you will find one Nanak, you will find one Jesus, you will find one Muhammad. These 6, 7 people have changed lives of crores and crores of people on this planet. And they did not do it because of that goal. They were only bringing in action so that they could improve. They could improve. So how to improve action? By taking more better and better knowledge. Action becomes better when knowledge becomes better. So they were constantly looking for higher and higher knowledge. We are in an ocean of knowledge, but I am limited to my knowledge intake because of my 5 senses. My senses are limited. They are in the body. My eye can see a particular distance. My ear can listen to a particular range of frequencies at a particular volume. But knowledge outside is infinite. So how to take that knowledge in? Infinite knowledge in? You take it in through intuition. You take it in through insight. You take it in through the sixth sense. So what is the sixth sense? This sixth sense is the mind. Then the mind becomes an organ of perception. Then the mind becomes the organ of intuition. The mind becomes the organ of insight. So what Patanjali says is, when you are learning dhyan, when you are learning concentration, there are 7 levels of concentration, 7 levels of samadhi. There are 7 levels of intuition, or the Sanskrit word is pragya, 7 levels of pragya. So either you do those mental exercises, those 7 of them, and come up, gain that knowledge using the mind, gain knowledge beyond the 5 physical senses. So when that knowledge intake keeps on growing, the action impact keeps on growing, the quality of action keeps on growing. So if you have to generate the best action, you need the best knowledge in the first place. The best knowledge in the first place is not going to come from your sense organs. Sense organs will give you knowledge for survival. If there is a truck coming close to you at 100 kilometers an hour and is about to hit you, your senses will tell you. So the 5 senses are essentially for survival. But the mind is for knowledge gathering. Mind is for sensory beyond inputs. So how does the mind get activated? Mind gets activated by doing these 3 actions. Either you practice vairagya, don't get colored by the world outside. That means your senses are under control. But you are still getting knowledge. Where is it coming from? The mind is opening up as a tool of knowledge, as a sense of knowledge. Second is you concentrate. When you practice concentration, when you practice samadhi, you are going through higher and higher levels of concentration, and higher levels of knowledge automatically open up. If you know these 7, you are sitting with somebody in a meeting, by his few words, you will know at what level is that person operating. Otherwise, you will be lost. So, keeping that in mind, I am trying to train around 100 CEOs this year. How to get that pragya? What are the exercises which needs to be done so that you are above your competition in knowledge? Then only you will be above your competition in action. And it is not about knowledge today itself, alone today. It is tomorrow also, day after tomorrow also. You have to be above your competition in knowledge today. You have to be above your competition in knowledge tomorrow. You have to be above your competition in knowledge the day after also, and forever. Then only you can last at the top for a long duration. This world is a fastly changing world. Nothing is predictable. And all chittas are fluctuating wildly. Look, something happens in Russia and Ukraine. I've never been to Russia, never been to Ukraine, right? Don't listen to that news. But wherever I go, whatever WhatsApp group I see among my friends, they're all busy talking about Russia and Ukraine. So something which is happening thousands of kilometers away is affecting their chitta today. It is jumping like a monkey. Are you people able to understand what I'm telling you? Now the CEO has to be there in his company with those jumping monkeys and still say still like a Hanuman. Then only he can lead his company. So a Hanuman has powers. Why does he have powers? Because they come through pragya. They come through knowledge. Supernatural knowledge gives siddhis. Natural knowledge is what comes naturally through the sense organs. It gives you survival. That's all. You will survive. You will not die. Are you able to understand what I'm telling you, people? ये ऊपर से निकल रहा है.
Yes, we are able to follow, sir. We are able to.
I'm able to understand you, sir.
We're able to follow. Thank you.
Yeah. So you're seeing that these senses, your senses are not controlled by you. Your senses are controlled by politicians. Your senses are controlled by corporates who are showing you advertisements. Your senses are controlled by the media which is showing you news, what it wants to show you, what it is paid for. But it is only your mind with pragya will get the actual authentic knowledge direct from the creation. Are you able to understand me now when I put it in so clear terms?
That means we had to use the powerful filter to ward off this.
कौन है? Who is speaking? कौन बोल रहे हैं बोलिए? Hello. Anyways, gone silent. Okay. Yeah, so you see, action can only come out of knowledge. And the quality of action will only depend on the quality of knowledge. If you are collecting your knowledge from the senses like your competition, your action will not be superior to their action. But if you are collecting your knowledge from a higher source, your action will be of a higher level. And what is the highest action you must aim for? Go back. Go back like Mahavira, go back like Buddha, go back like Nana, go back like Jesus, go back like Muhammad. And all of them have not given the same philosophy. The Buddhists don't believe in God. The Jainis don't believe in God the way we Hindus believe. Nanak was neither Hindu nor Muslim in a way, his teachings. And Jesus was different from what Islam is preaching. But they all went back. That is the best action to take, to go back. Take a U-turn and go back. Realize that you are at a dead end. The world is the dead end of evolution. It is completely tamasic, fully solid. It has stopped. Go back. You have drifted far away from the source. Go back. And it is simple. That same object, which is the end, focus on that object, it will open up the door to the back. You will move into subtler and subtler worlds just by looking at a gross object. That is what entire Patanjali Yoga Sutra is about. He talks about the first 6 samadhis, Sabij Samadhi. Sabij Samadhi means the mind is there, the object is there, the memory is there. So the physical will take you to the mental will take you to the spiritual back. And let me tell you, the spiritual does not exist alone. The spiritual, the mental and the physical have to coexist always. And then you are going back also, first 6 samadhis, even though the mind would have become very, very microscopic, but it is still there. And that stage you have an Atma realization, but the mind is there. That is why you have a realization. It is registering that realization. It is storing that realization. So briefly, we can say as a summary, okay, what all I have spoken so far. Knowledge leads to action. Quality of knowledge decides the quality of action. What is the best action? The best action is to go back. And how to go back? Patanjali has given us 3 ways. Vairagya, Abhyas, that is concentration, and Ishwar Panidhana. And if you go to Sankhya, he is not talking in Sankhya of any Abhyas, concentration, any Vairagya, or any Ishwar. He simply says, know this creation structure, study it, and you will have complete freedom. Once you understand your prison, you can always come out of it. But if you do not know about the prison, you are trapped inside forever because you don't have the power to come out of it. So he has explained the entire creation. What is this creation all about? And where, if you stay in this creation, will you benefit the most? That is what Sankhya has told. Sankhya, in my view, is the highest philosophy any person has conceived on this planet. All other philosophies have taken from Sankhya. But Sankhya came first. So if you can go back to Sankhya, you go back by 3,000 years in one shot. Are you getting me? Then the Purusha and the Mool Prakriti happen easily. But if you want to start a journey back from today's philosophies, if you go to Sri Ravi Shankar, if you go to Sadhguru, if you go to all the current gurus, you will start from today and have to walk back a long way. So go to Sankhya, go to Patanjali Yoga Sutras, start there. You will go through easily. So that is the action and that is the knowledge which is needed for that. The best action and the best knowledge. Yeah, if there are questions now you can ask. Or if there is any confusion, then you can ask. You know, I'm trying to explain a very subtle concept, a very specialized concept. I'm trying to do it as simply as I can, okay? But it may be difficult for some of you. So if you have questions, please ask. I'm willing to answer.
I have a question, Sanjay. It's like this. Everything we have been getting from you is information. It is nothing really concrete so far. It becomes more and more concrete only when we experience it in our life, only when we are able to follow you more and more. Right now, it is only words between you, me, and my ear and my mind, and whatever effect it has created on my mind. But how do I implement it in, how do I make myself follow it well?
Good question. Very good question. I will tell you just one step today. And once when you all have been able to do it for some time, then we can go to the second step. And probably then we can go to the advanced steps. Those 7 stages of Samadhi. You see in this entire Patanjali Yoga Sutra, he has said 2 exercises. Okay. One is, he says, sit in any comfortable position where you are sthir and you are in sukh. Sthir means steady, sukh means comfort. That is the asana. That is the definition of asana. And there you think about ananta, infinite. Okay, so one route is that you start there. Second is you start with Om chanting. He has explained about Om in 3-4 sutras in the first chapter on Samadhi, where he says you can chant or you can listen. Listening has been given by Shankaracharya. He says when you are listening, Adi Shankaracharya, when you are listening, that also is equally effective. I practice listening and I have been doing it for a number of years. Okay? And I lead a transformed life. I have certain experiences which I really cannot justify to myself also how it is happening. Okay? Impossible to justify. But it is happening. So I would suggest to you is start with the Om one first, because he has given the Om in the first chapter. The asana and the Ananta meditation he has given in the second chapter. Third chapter, he has explained the concentration and results of high concentration in terms of powers which you get. So we don't touch that. That will evolve for each one of you on its own. If you need, then only try to avoid them if you can, because those powers can trap you. So the simplest one is listen to the Om chant. Go to Play Store, download any app which has Om in it. And what I would suggest to you is initially when you're going to sleep at night, Keep it on at a very low volume so that it does not disturb your sleep, but the vibration is there in that room. And it should not disturb your partner also, low volume. Just play it. Allow it to play. Do this for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. You will suddenly find your thought processes have changed. You will suddenly find the reality around you is changing. You will suddenly find you have become more active. You have become more positive minded. And what all I have been talking about, you will be able to connect at a deeper level there. Okay. Right now, it is knowledge which is coming. And if this knowledge is not accompanied by some doing, it will go away. So start simple, start with Om. Om is the most powerful mantra of this planet. It has been around for more than 5,000 years and it is magical. There are scientific reasons why it works, but I'm not going into that. Just listen to the Om chant. Let it be on for 7 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours in your room. If you're traveling, if you're going to the office, keep it slightly on. When the office, if possible, keep it on somewhere at a very low volume. Let the vibration be on. That's it. At this stage, beginning stage, start with Om and slowly the path will come. The Om vibration by itself will give you the path. It will start guiding you from inside. Your Adi Guru will awaken and it will talk to you. Yeah, Sangeeta, you may ask.
Yeah, I have a question about infinite. When I am sitting on asana, so whatever I'm thinking, like I am finite, my mind is finite, then how I think about the infinite? Like whatever is coming in my mind, I'm thinking all finite. Mind is infinite. How can the infinite mind reach, finite mind reach infinite things? Like when I'm sitting, a lot of question is coming in my mind. What is infinite? What I'm thinking all limited.
Okay.
So what is that reality?
There are two answers to your question. The first answer is the mind, once it is stretched, will try to go back. So it's asking you these questions. So if you are ignoring the mind, telling you these things, and you are staying around with that infiniteness feeling, after a few days, the mind will accept infiniteness and stay there. That is one way of doing it because the mind is not used to it and the mind is losing its power, When the mind is, say, narrow, then it is not allowing you to change easily. But when the mind is opening up, broadening up, then it is losing control over itself. Okay? So that is one important thing you need to do. Another thing can be, I can take you through a guided meditation on infiniteness. You can do a similar thing if you want, or you can record and then play it while you are meditating. So this can be a second way. But both these ways work. The mind will not accept change very fast. Mind is a slow changing machine. If the mind changes very fast, it might be dangerous for you. So for your own safety, the mind has a safety protocol in mind. If anything is violating that safety protocol, it opposes. Till it finds that it is persistently doing it, so it gives up. Okay, yeah. Now there was another question from Sangeeta ji. Have I answered you? Is that all right?
Yeah, I will try that.
Okay. Yeah, Anshuman, I think you asked the question. Yes, Anshuman.
Yes, sir. Sir, I want to share some points on the topic of the day, if you allow.
Okay.
Yeah. Sir, the topic is very important. Action is the foundational key to success, and we need to be action oriented. And the path to success is to take massive, determined action in line with God's will. Sir, what I can say that God, I read somewhere that God provides the wind, but it is the man who must raise the sails. I think that is very important. So, in fact, sir, you mentioned very nicely that action becomes better with knowledge. And with better knowledge, we can take better action. So that is also very profound. And you also mentioned about intuitive knowledge. So I just want to say that, sir, if we practice God, Ishwar Pranidhana, and if we are a part of God's team, and we are working for God, and we are directing our thoughts and actions to God, then He will let us know what is required to be known. So I think probably that at that point in time, we will get that intuitive knowledge, what we desire. So definitely, sir, connection with God is what is very, very important. And sir, also, sir, I just want to share, sir, 2-3 points regarding what Deepak ji asked about the gap between theory and implementation. And sir, I think it's very, very important to take some actions to implement. And I think some points, sir, regarding, for example, to control the senses, we can practice fasting. So if we can control the sense of taste, it will help us to control of other senses as well. Also, sir, to have better knowledge, we can read the scriptures like Yoga Sutras and other profound books by the yogis. Also, sir, limiting the intake. So you very nicely mentioned about the mental diet, that how media houses or politicians or others are controlling our minds. So if we can do that, that can be really helpful. So stopping the news intake and all, that is very important. And also, sir, a lot of distractions. Sir, what is happening is because of TV or WhatsApp or other people directing us, if we can actually be focused and concentrate on what we want and what we need, probably it can help us to progress faster. That is what I wanted to share, sir.
Okay.
And also, sir, one more point, sir, that, sir, there is a difference between motion and action. And which means that we may think of doing something, but we may not act. So that personal integrity is very important, that we should walk the talk and do what we mean. Just by saying will not help. So this is what I want to share. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Ansuman, I appreciate your comments. I really like that's another way of looking at it, stopping yourself from other directions. Good.
Now you see, all of us are born with a mind. Okay. We have the unconscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the conscious mind keeps on forming as we grow. How do you, for achieving moksha, how do you end the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the unconscious mind? How do you put an end to them? Okay. Now, this conscious mind of ours is multi-directional. That means it keeps on moving on to it keeps on moving on to one point, second point, third point, fourth point. You know, it changes focus very fast. So the exercise begins by making it one-pointed. When you are practicing Vairagya, you are making it one-pointed. You are taking it away from the infinite colors of the world and bringing it to no color. But no color will not happen straight away. You have to bring it to one color first, and then that color is cleaned off. So many to one is what Vairagya is all about. Concentration is also many to one. That is what it is all about. Now this many to one is explained by Patanjali in 7 steps. He says, follow these 7 steps, 7 levels. Slowly, steadily, you will reach to one. The last stage will be one. Ishwar Pranidhana is again many to one. You take one Ishwara and surrender. That's all, the end. So that is many to one. So as the mind is multi-pointed, it has less knowledge and less power to act. As the mind becomes one-pointed, it has absolute knowledge and absolute power to act. You can write down these words if you want. If your mind is multi-pointed, it has limited knowledge and limited power to act. As the mind becomes one-pointed, it has infinite knowledge and infinite power to act. When there is only one point, then there is no fluctuation. There is nirodha. Vrittis are gone. You are into yoga. You are at the highest. You are as good as God. So this one-pointedness, which is as good as God, we Hindus call God. Kapila Muni said, no, this is not a God. This is like the other tattvas. Jainis feel we cannot call it God. This is what the state of Kevalya Jnani reaches. All of us effectively are talking the same science. But because we are talking subjectively, we are giving our own names to it. So the purpose of life is multi-pointed to one point. As simple as that. Because when you're already multi-pointed, you cannot become more multi-pointed. You're at the end of it. Your mind is running in thousands of places at one moment. But when you become single-pointed, then the nirodha is happening. Then the stopping of the mind is happening. So this is the fundamental secret of all religions. They try to take you from multi-pointedness to single-pointedness. So they give you a structure, they give you rituals, they give you methods, they give you processes. And then they fight over it. Then these religious people get over it and fight over it. So I am avoiding giving you any specific structure because then people will fight over that structure. So you have to understand the end purpose. You see, say if I have to go from my home, point A, in Calcutta, to point B in Delhi, I do not know on the path what difficulties will I encounter. So when I am there, I will decide the path there. You know, if I tell everybody that you must go by flight, it will reach in 2 hours. There will be others who don't have the money. So I am intentionally avoiding to give you the paths. I am merely stating what Patanjali has already stated. I am not adding more words to it because people over years have been adding. You can get lakhs and lakhs of quotes on any subject you say. People with their limited knowledge have been passing that limited knowledge as absolute knowledge. The other guy at the other end is illiterate. He considers that limited knowledge to be perfect knowledge, and we end up with screwed up minds. So my suggestion, my advice to you is, from multi-pointedness, you have to move to single-pointedness. You can choose any method. If you like your wife's photograph, look at it for 2 hours a day, I don't mind. You will become single-pointed. You will start loving your wife. If you are fond of money, concentrate on money. Doesn't make a difference. Buy a gold brick, keep it somewhere in your locker. Every day morning, take it out. Do some agarbatti to it and focus, look at it for 2 hours. So that is your concentration. The objective is to move from multi-pointedness to single-pointedness. And when you reach single-pointedness, zero-pointedness happens automatically. The Prakriti element and the Purusha element, they separate out on their own. Because you have returned to the starting point, the Mahatattva, the cosmic mind, cosmic intelligence. So I would suggest to you all is ki, read less, listen less, read less, write it down, read less, listen less, and think of nothing. If you can stay within you thinking of nothing, you have reached. If to think of nothing, you have to think of something for some while, think. If you have 1,000 thoughts coming in your mind and you love rasgullas, keep a rasgulla in front of you, look at the rasgulla and concentrate for 1 hour. Your mind will become from multi-pointed to single point. Next day, don't keep the rasgulla there. So you will come to 0 point. That is moksha. You see, each Hindu is supposed to attain moksha. If moksha would have been such complicated thing, it would not have been made mandatory for everybody. Moksha is your birthright, your duty, you will get it. But you are looking for it, listening to the wrong teachers. The teachers themselves do not know what is moksha and how to reach there. They will only tell you what is in the book. You ask one question, you will have no further answer to it. So the logic is very simple. Multi-pointed to single-pointedness is the journey. You can choose any way you want. And there is no such thing called asana. There is no such thing called pranayam, 21 breaths in, 40 breaths out, 30 here, 40 there. Nothing. Life is simple. We are complicating it with our own methods. And then we make a business out of it. Have you seen any of the animals practicing pranayama? कि सांस अंदर लो, 2 मिनट होल्ड करो, 2 मिनट बाहर फेंको? No. Entire nature is working automatically. Just because we have the power of reasoning, we have made it complicated intentionally, so that people who can reason can make it complicated, can either sell it or get name fame out of it. Let me tell you, where was the need to write Vedas? Where was the need to write Upanishads? Where was the need to write darshans? Where is the need to have so many gurus? Not needed. We have overloaded our mind with many things. Just looking at a leaf on a tree can give you moksha. If you are serious about moksha, if you know what is moksha. Moksha is bringing your mind from many to one to zero. That is moksha. Do you need a religion for it? No. Do you need a guru for it? No. Did you hire a guru to teach you how to ride cycle? No. Did you hire a guru to teach you how to walk? No. Did you hire a guru to teach you how to urinate? No. Did you hire a guru to teach you how to see? No. But you want a guru to teach you how to achieve moksha. Why? Keep on slowing down your mind. Keep on calming your mind. Keep on bringing your mind to zeroness. The more calm your mind, the more active your mind is. Let me tell you that. And the more active your mind is, the less power it has. So be calm, be composed, be cool. You see, all of you are married here. I would like to know how many of you got a tuition class on sex. How to have sex with your spouse. I'm sure nobody had. You see, we have complicated our life. Make it simple. Make it simple. There is too much of thought noise outside. Too much of it. Patanjali says a very important thing. He says the first samadhi is Savitarka Samadhi, where people see the object with their reasoning minds. And what do they see? They see the name of the object, they see the meaning, the function of the object, and they see the description of the object. But they do not see the object. The second samadhi, which is what is taught as Vipassana by the Buddhists, is called Nirvitarka Samadhi, second one. Everybody on this planet is on Savitarka Samadhi. The child learns it on his own. The second is Nirvitarka, where you see, but you don't allow the name of that object to come in, the meaning of that object to come in, and the description of that object to come in. So what it means is you see with your eyes only and not with your mind. You keep the mind off. The mind knows the name, the mind knows the meaning, the mind knows the description of the object, not the eye. I can only see, that's all. And our rishis were seers, they could see. Why are they called seers? Because they were able to see. They were able to see everything. We are unable to see everything because we are seeing the wrong things. Yes, Anshul.
So lots of valuable takeaways in today's session. Sir, I would like to politely share a point which is slightly opposite. Especially
reasoning mind on the planet. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, sir, like I also want to share, sir. First, I would like to share some points regarding my failures or some experience regarding the lack of action orientation and what helped me. Sir, I think, and then this point which I wanted to share at the last. So the first point is that many times we lack the motivation and we have perfectionist tendency and we want all the signals to turn green, which never happens. Also, sir, we overthink, which is the paralysis of analysis, which actually increases the chitta vrittis, which leads to lack of prioritization and unclear goals and wrong decision making or delay in decision making. So any action, even if it's wrong, we should be action oriented. So I think that was a problem, which by practicing Ishwar Pranidhana and meditation or calming the mind, it helped me to take better decisions, which eventually led to I was working very hard earlier. But the results were average. But later on, I worked very average, but my results were much better, got 2 promotions and so on. So definitely, sir, calming the mind helps in better management of self. So regarding the point regarding the importance of Guru, and sir, that is the point where I would like to politely disagree. That, sir, to have the attunement to the God and to have understanding of the good knowledge, what you mentioned, in terms of the scriptural knowledge or the knowledge of the Vedas and so on and so forth. We have limited intellect and we are beginner and we are work in progress. So it's like, sir, you are walking, suppose you are in a desert or you are in a quagmire like Daldal and you have to put in self-effort to cross that Daldal. And on the same time, parallelly, you have a highway and you just have to hold the hand of the Guru and he will take us through to God. So we don't have to reinvent everything. We can do it definitely with the grace of God, but it will take more time and effort. So why to reinvent everything, sir? We can just hold on to the Guru and then pass on easily. So that is what I wanted to share, sir.
I have a question for you. Have you experienced God?
Yes, sir, I have experienced.
Okay. Did a Guru do it for you or you got it on your own?
Sir, I did it for myself, but the Guru definitely helped me, sir.
So fair enough. I'm thankful you're honest. You see, if we are not loaded with thoughts of the world, then there is, बोलते हैं ना कि हर बच्चा भगवान का रूप होता है. But when we start putting consciously into his head our thoughts, then we are taking him away from God. We give him a full-blown conscious mind. And then a Guru is required to undo that conscious mind. Are you getting me? तुमने फिर
Yes,
आप बताया क्या अंशुमन?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you see, these are individual journeys. Some cultures don't have the concept of a Guru. Some have. Some have no concept of God. Some have. Some have no concept of religion. Okay. Forget God, no God. There's no concept of religion. Some people do not believe in anything. So the point I'm trying to tell you is this journey is from multi-pointedness to single-pointedness of the mind. All of us have minds. Okay, I might be a Hindu, I might not be Hindu, I have a mind. I might have a Guru, I not be a Guru, I have a mind. I might be successful, I might not be successful, I have a mind. I might be a male, female, child, whatever, I have a mind. So mind is one essential constituent of everybody on this planet. Right? Now, if that mind is moved from multi-pointedness to zero-pointedness, good. Some children learn driving on their own, car driving. Some children need a teacher. Some need a teacher for 5 months, 10 months, even then they keep on failing the exam. So it's an individual journey. So here in this case, I'm saying it's an individual journey from multi-pointedness to single-pointedness. It is not necessary to have a guru. It is not necessary to have a religion. It is not necessary to have a structure. But some people may need structure. So you give them the bare structure, the bare minimum structure. Give them Om and give them Ananda. That's it. Let them figure it out on their own. Let them experiment with their life. What's wrong about it? They have married and are experimenting with marriage, right? They have produced children and are experimenting with children, learning about children. So let them learn about this also. You see, the moment you say A is right, there will be 1,000 people who will say, no, no, B is right. So why say something? And you see, I have not come here with the responsibility of working out a structure for the rest of the world, right? I have come here for my multi-pointedness to single-pointedness. And I do these talks live here because it puts me on to very intelligent minds, minds like you, Anshuman. So you ask questions. So that makes me think. So I am able to refine my own philosophy of my life. So what am I here doing? And I get original live people to talk to, real experiences. These are not hypothetical. So life, every moment is different. Every person, every moment is different. You only have to keep the compass pointed from many pointedness to single pointedness. That's all. Rest, everything will happen. Unbelievably, it will happen.
Yes, sir. Sir, point taken. Just one last thing, sir. Again, one question I wanted to ask, sir. And it's more from a practical standpoint of point of view of our life, sir. We have different, like you mentioned about single pointedness. Now, sir, we have multiple dimensions. Our family can be one dimension. Our career can be one dimension. Our health is another dimension. Our financial security is one dimension. Our social contribution, our spiritual growth, and so on. So there are multiple areas in our life. And if we score our areas, we may be maybe 5 out of 10 on one area, 8 on another area, and so on. Now, sir, should we focus on only one area at one point in time, or should we focus it at all the places in a balanced manner so that we progress and realize our potential in all the areas? Or we should only talk about Ishwar Pranidhana and leave aside everything else?
Arey bhai, so in all these areas, you are using your mind, right?
Yes, sir.
So I'm talking about that mind. That mind, you make it from multi-pointed to single-pointed. That means when you are at home, be with family. Don't do it such a way that when you are at home and it's family time and you are somewhere else mentally. So my submission is the mind multi-pointedness should be at one point. Now that one point can be different points in the day, na? Night time, that one point is sleep.
Sir, I got it.
One is taking a nice bath.
Sir, I got the answer that when you have time, you allocate time, and then single-pointedly focus on that without any distractions. So if timings.
I am saying don't allocate time also. You see, because then you're building a structure there. Okay. You are putting a frame. Let it not be a tight frame. Let it be an indicative frame. Be flexible. This is the real world running. Okay, it's not a clock running.
Point taken, sir. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, any other question? Or can we close now? Surely. So we close. Thank you all of you for being with us. God bless.
Thank you, sir.